Good morning. So I'm kind of rushing to work right now. Probably gonna be like 5 to 7 minutes late. You know, Santosh doesn't need to know that. And she shan't. Literally, she won't even notice unless it's Tuesday. Yeah, I have to make sure I'm on time like every Tuesday because of our supervision, which is so unnecessary. Like last week, all we did, she's like, do you have any information for me? Do you have anything you want to talk about? I was like, no, I don't. No. Because, bitch, this has been going on for close to more than 12 weeks, probably. At this point, I'm not saying, you know, I'm an expert at the job, but no, I don't have any questions. I don't. If I have a question, I'll ask you. The fuck? Like, there's no need for it anymore, in my opinion. But anyway, I wanted to talk about how, yesterday went. So yesterday was my first shift with Scribe America at Hopkins ED, but it's not even technically the ED. Well, it is. It's a subset of the ED. It's like analogous to an urgent care center. So basically, people go there when their illnesses aren't as like pressing as a true emergency situation, but and they don't have anywhere else to go. So they come here. And you know, the first 3 patients were homeless patients who were frequent flyers. So I feel like this is like their main territory. The first one, he had a he was wearing like military grade boots, and then they were giving him pain in his right leg, and it just was that they were too small, and then he needed to like have a cushion in there using a sock. So basically, she just spoke to him for 5 minutes and then got him some breakfast, and then he left. And the second one, he was like, all he could do is mumble. He couldn't really talk. But then he was convinced that he had infections in his legs. But when they took off the bandages, it showed that they were still like not completely healed, but they had made some progress. But the man was still convinced that that he had the infection. So the doctor had to explain to him exactly where he was in the healing process, and that he was doing everything good because there wasn't any signs of infection. And the third person, he has diabetes that is uncontrolled. He has medication, but he just doesn't take it because he's homeless, and when he comes home to see his sister a couple times out of the week, he takes his medication then, but then when he leaves, he doesn't take it with him. So it got to an uncontrollable point, and his sugars were really high, and his hands were puffy, his feet were puffy. It was really interesting, but it was also like sad because at that point the doctor became like his mom, saying, you have to take it. If you don't take it, this disease is going to kill you because you chose to let it kill you, or something like that. So it's just like, is that what I'm gonna have to be like, counseling people? I mean, I get it, you know, patient counseling is everything, but for patients who don't listen and you have to keep telling them the same thing, and that has to be discouraging. And then I was speaking with the scribe, and she was talking about how a lot of people who come in here, you just don't even have the resources that they need for them to get help. So at the end of the day, you don't really feel like you did that much in terms of helping them out, because you can't necessarily give them those resources or spend that time with them that they need. So that was really interesting. And then I also saw a myocardial infarction. That was really cool. So basically, the guy came in, they found him on the street, and learned that he had diabetes. I don't know how they knew, because the paramedics said they didn't have any past medical history, but apparently he had diabetes, and then he had just taken a drug, so he was passed out, and then they took him to the emergency room. And then they came in and started doing chest compressions on him, and then the junior resident began to intubate him, and then the senior resident was kind of just like standing back and directing everybody, and then the attending was in the corner just supervising everything and not really talking. So it was really interesting to see all the different types of roles people took, and like how people assigned roles. And well, how the senior resident assigned roles, but everybody fell into the role, and that really helped in terms of like directing the whole encounter, making sure everything went smoothly. Everybody had their own job to do, and there wasn't really overlap. Yeah, people were like yelling stuff and like saying the progress, and then they would pause every like 50 seconds to take a pulse, and they had to do that like 3 or 4 times before they finally got a weak pulse, and then they did the pulse ox, and he was around 60 or 65, so he was like really desaturated. And then I had to leave after that, but basically they kept like trying to stabilize him and get a better reading, so I don't really know what happened. But like just seeing all the urgency and like everybody just fell into what they had to do, which was really cool. And I was also like, whoa, I could get to do this, but oh, I could get to do this. Like, it was a combination of both fear and excitement, because yeah, it's so cool, and I feel like it's so easy to say, oh, it's so cool, because I'm on the outside looking in, but then when you're in it, it's stress, because it's like, if I don't save this person, they're going to die. Like, imagine the kind of pressure that is. And I'm like, I wonder if that gets better the more times you see it. I don't know. But then again, that doesn't mean I have to do this for the rest of my life, but just the fact that I could, that's really cool. But scary at the same time. But I also feel like once I have that knowledge and am able to just listen to my brain in that situation, I'd be able to do everything I can to make sure that the patient has a good outcome. You know, you can't save everybody, but you can save the most people by using the skills and information you've learned, synthesizing it and realizing that the information you learned in those first 2 years aren't just for you to pass the test. It's for you to internalize it, become it, and understand it, so that you can use your skills and the knowledge you've gained to save a life, or save multiple lives. But yeah, it's a calling. So it really is. Oh yeah, and then yesterday after that, I came back and went to BJ's, and then I came back, and then I ate, and then I went upstairs and called Isha. Well, before that, I was like, you know, BSing on Instagram or whatever, I think, or some kind of thing. And then like yesterday and the day before that, I had been listening to this, I'm not even eating, I'd been listening to this podcast called Therapy for Black Girls, because Ashley talked about it in her videos, so I was like, let me check it out. And I do realize, like, I keep going back and forth between, do I need therapy, do I not need therapy? Unfortunately, I still have a little bit of that stigma, like, that was a past thing, that was a past problem, I've resolved all those issues already. But they just keep coming back, albeit in less menacing, quote unquote, and different types of ways. So if I end up going, which I really should, and I feel like it's only going to get worse with medical school. Oh yeah, what do I want to talk about? I would really want to talk about just like not really feeling connected to people. And like I don't really feel that, I haven't felt that recently, because I'm not in that college setting where I feel the pressure to always mix and mingle, meet new people. But it's like, as BSU rolls back around, let's see how long that lasts, it's gonna come back, you know. And you know, I'm also really detached from it, because I'm now at a place where like I don't need these people's validation or approval, or like we always have to be best friends. I'm not saying like, you know, I'm gonna be up in there with a stank face, but I'm like, if it doesn't go anything past just seeing them at this thing, that's fine, you know, because people are in your life for a reason, and sometimes it's just for a season, and it doesn't mean that they're a bad person, that's just how it is. But anyway, so yeah, I feel like that would be a big thing. Yeah, and also like yesterday me and Nisha were working on my Tinder profile, and I deleted the old one, and then we put all these new pictures and the new bio and stuff, and then part of me was like, I don't agree, but another part of me is like, I might as well just take what she has to say into account, because at this point my way isn't working, and I might as well be open to something else. And then, oh yeah, we were talking. She was saying like, I don't know why it's not. Oh, what I've been working with you on is probably gonna work, or should work. I don't know what it is. And then we both agreed that maybe it's a mix of I don't know what I want, and I just always pick the bad ones. Like, settle for something, I guess. I think that's really true. Like, I don't know what I want because I don't have an example of things I do, like concrete things I don't like and things I do like. I just feel like, and I don't know if my expectations are like too unrealistic. I was like, you know, I have like things I want, but then it's like, oh yeah, then also just me even imagining myself like standing next to the ideal guy I want, I feel like I wouldn't even be enough, which is so weird. And like, why would I even create something I don't see myself interacting with or being equal to? But even like on this date I went to on Saturday, he was a PhD student at Hopkins, and he's really smart and everything, but he's not physically attractive to me. It was really easy to talk to him, and I'm like, I don't know if that was because I didn't think he was a threat, or like, because I don't see him that way, it was easier for me to just be myself. But that's really weird because I should be able to be myself no matter who I'm talking to. It's because they look good doesn't mean that they're like better and therefore have to act like a different person because of that. If so, I shouldn't even be talking to them because I know I can't keep up a facade. I don't know. I don't even know if I would be able to explain this to someone else. But that's kind of like the gist of where I'm going, you know? Grab my food. Okay, I think this is it. I've been meaning to talk to you guys for a while.